Tom Hauser here with another midweek blessing. Hey, I just want to do a quick follow-up on a message from last Sunday. It came from the book of Jude. It was a message that kind of poked into this thought that Jude mentioned mercy 4 times in his letter to the Christians he was writing to. And I define mercy for the sake of the message as seeing a great need and meeting a great need out of love for the one with the great need. Seeing a great need and meeting a great need out of the love for the one with the great need. And I wondered if we could be the kind of people who could extend that kind of mercy to one another, active mercy, actively seeing and meeting the great needs of one another because we love each other. It's a hard thing to do. I just want to follow up on that with just a couple different passages that speak to similar things, and then maybe some clarification on how we might put it into practice here in the next day or the next week or the next month. First, the passage I mentioned from Jesus when he talked about logs and specks. Let me read this to you. It's from Matthew chapter 7. It says, "Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but fail to see the beam of wood in your own? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me remove the speck from your eye,' while there is a beam in your own? You hypocrite! First remove the beam from your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." As I mentioned in the message, Jesus never said not to help your brother get the speck out of his eye. He just simply said, before you do that, be careful that you first pay attention to this giant log sticking out of your own eye. Get rid of that. Do the work necessary to get rid of that, and then help your brother with the speck in their eye. And in James chapter 5, James says this, "My brothers and sisters, if anyone among you wanders from the truth and someone turns him back, he should know that the one who turns a sinner back from his wandering path will save that person's soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins." Just another example of, in this case, Jesus' half-brother James imploring people to help one another when we're in trouble, when we're stuck in sin. And then one more from the book of Galatians. "Brothers and sisters, if a person is discovered in some sin, you who are spiritual, restore such a person in a spirit of gentleness. Pay close attention to yourselves so that you are not tempted too." Sounds very similar to what Jesus said. First pay attention to yourself and then help your brother. First get that log out of your own eye and then go help your brother with the speck in his eye. Let me just suggest a very practical, very difficult, but very practical and very beneficial follow-up from this message and these passages. And that is the first, I'd love for you to focus. I'd love to focus on inviting someone to show mercy to you. Inviting someone to first show us mercy, help us get the log out of our eye. Help us to see what we cannot see, to point out the log sticking out of our eye, so that he or she can gently remove it, and so that we can then help another person. What does that look like? It looks like simply discovering or thinking about someone in your life who is a few things, who loves Jesus a whole lot, who knows the scriptures well enough to give wise counsel, who loves you a whole lot as well, and one who's courageous enough to speak truth into your life. To prayerfully consider who that person or who maybe a couple of those persons might be, and then to invite them, ask them, give them permission to show you mercy, to see your great need and to meet your great need by helping you, by pointing out your great need, by helping you get through that great need. Someone you know who loves you enough, who's bold enough to say what is difficult to say and to invite them to do that. As I've grown in the last 30 years of being a Christian, I don't know of anything more helpful than some other person who is loving and courageous enough and biblical enough to come alongside me and say, "Tom, you are headed down a road that leads a place you don't want to go. Tom, you've really got to think about stop doing this thing that you're doing, or if you don't start doing this other thing, you're going to find yourself in deep trouble." It's helped my marriage. It's helped my parenting. It's helped me be a better pastor, a better friend. It's easy to find people who will tell you how great you are. It's easy to find people who will agree with you. In fact, it's rewarding to locate the people that you can hang out with that will agree with everything you say. But what challenge it is and what benefit it is to find a person who will challenge what you think, who will maybe speak a little bit of biblical truth into what you think, who will challenge you to think more in the way Jesus thought, to consider what the Bible says, who loves you enough to help you get that log out of your eye, so that then you can help someone else get the speck out of their eye. That's my encouragement for you. It's my continued encouragement for me this week, that we'd show mercy to one another, that we would see one another's great needs, and we would meet those great needs because we love one another. Till next time, peace, friends.